Q has just named names, specifically John McCain, and Guantanamo Bay is at maximum capacity. Hi, I'm Craig, and thanks for watching. This is Just Informed Talk. First, I want to start by saying, as I do most episodes, thank you to all the subscribers. You guys are what make this channel possible, and everybody who's commented in the comment boards. You guys are really the salt of the earth there, and it's much appreciated. I learned so much, and we learn so much together, and that's the point of Q, I think, is spreading this info, getting it into the public domain. So if anybody who hasn't subscribed, go ahead and just come to this main page, click subscribe, and then hit the bell if you want the notifications. And you will be informed every time one of my videos is posted. As I say in all my videos, as this video information becomes available, I will make a video and pass along the information. So let's just get right into it. The first post here is talking about the Department of Justice in the state of Nevada and the Henderson, Nevada PD. And so we can look at the picture here. It says that the U.S. Department of Justice in the District of Nevada, their organized crime and gang section, has now arrested 13 criminals from 17 countries for defrauding victims of, you guys can't read this here, but it says over $530 million, as well as over $2.2 billion in losses. Now, a great point was brought up by an ANON here, 2Q, where he says underground massive data center. So first, let's go ahead and look at that. And this is a thing called Switch. I don't know if this is what they were referring to, but let's just go ahead and look at this for a minute. And you guys, I'm going to depend on you in the comments and to leave your information. Your intel is priceless, and we need it. We need all the help we can get. So, but talking about this place called Switches, it's a Las Vegas data center with 2 million square feet of space. Now, if you go down in this article, you can read that some of its top customers include Amazon, eBay, Hulu, and NASA. Okay, so this is just a very fascinating thing. It deserves a heck of a lot more research, and I hope that in the comments we can get to the bottom of it and figure out the connection between Henderson, Nevada, and why the Henderson. And then this is Anon saying, it says, why is Henderson PD and Nevada Department of Justice involved in the Bangkok hacker case? And then Q says, you have so much more than you know, future-proofs past. So we need to go back to the post previously and pull out the information, but I think that's what a lot of it was referring to when we were, maybe that was what was happening in Thailand and Bangkok at the hotel there where the Mercedes with the UN plates pulled up, but that certainly is something we need to look into further. Let's go on to the next post here. It says, think BDT, so the Bangladeshi currency, or the Bangladeshi taka, the New York City attempt, quote unquote, and Barlow. And that's John Perry Barlow, the one who recently died of a heart attack, quote unquote, I put the air quotes up, but you guys can't see that, obviously. So not stated for, and we're going to go back to Q here, not stated for verification of credibility. Why are we still here given foreknowledge of events? No FBI investigation into this? Impossible to locate? Less than 10. Now, I'm not sure what the less than 10 thing means, but I think, could that mean that there's less than 10 people who make up what QAnon is? And who are we talking to, they go on to say. It says, since the CIA clown takedown of black ops locations public exposure, what has changed here? Expand your thinking. This is not a game, Red October. So guys, I really depend on you guys to kind of fill me in on this part. This is fascinating to me. It says, what has changed? We have to look at that and try to figure that out for ourselves. And we're all working on this together. So collectively, we can find the intel, we can share it. So let's go to the next part. Now he gives us a sec test, which always means something's going down. I don't know what is going down, but we'll have to see. I think people have been actively trying to hack the board. I think that there's active bad actors trying to work against us, but we have to persevere and we have to get through this news together, even though, no matter what the situation is and no matter what the consequences are, we have to stick together. We, the people, will take back our country from those who want to take it away from us and give it to the globalists and keep it in the hands of few, when America's meant for the Americans. And all of us share that dream and that goal together to make America great again. So let's get right into this. It says, an Anon here posts, I would like to inquire of Q, with highest respect, whether Red October refers to one, the fictional submarine whose torpedo homed in on itself. I don't know if that's homed or honed, and destroyed itself, or the Red October, and then I think it's it in the Russian language or character, whatever. Then it says cyber espionage malware discovered in October 2012, January 2013, and operated worldwide for up to 5 years before its discovery. It sent info ranging from diplomatic secrets to personal information, including from mobile devices. Red October was termed an advanced cyber espionage campaign intended to target diplomatic, governmental, and scientific research organizations worldwide. Or 3, something else. Now, Q answers this Anon by saying basically, future news will highlight, note the hunt for was dropped. Details matter, Q. So let's think about it this way. If we're talking about the hunt for October, that means they don't know what it is. They don't know where it is. They don't know how to find it. I think Q's pointing out the fact that we've identified the target. We know where Red October is, and we are currently fighting it directly. Now, is Red October a insinuation about Snowden, maybe, in Russia? Let's just keep reading, and we'll get to that. Okay, so now, here's a post on the right here you guys will look at, and we'll go right to that. And it's the Commie News Network, of course. But it's a compilation of all the mainstream media's coverage of the Winter Olympics and North Korea, and how strange it is, and how it says, hilarious and yet disturbing in no small measure that the media's hatred of Pence and the Department of the Donald J. Trump administration has compelled the corrupt media to side with slavery, death camps, human trafficking, narcotics, illegal arms trading, etc. Now, if you read some of these, it's, Kim Jong-un's sister is stealing the show at Winter Olympics. North Korea is winning at the Olympics, and it's not because of sports. Now I'm reading these are headlines. Michael Moore tweeting, I just love the whole F Trump opening to the Olympics last night from all Koreans coming in together under one blue flag of peace to Pence and mother forced to sit in front of Kim's sister to the popular Korean singers joining together to sing John Lennon's Imagine. Boom. Now, that's sick. I don't like Michael Moore at all, but now I like him even less, given that. Another one, The New Yorker, the mesmerizing spectacle of North Korea's army of beauties at the Winter Olympics. NBC Olympics tweeted, this is so satisfying to watch, and it was a bunch of North Koreans together, or North Korean cheerleaders. Then it's Wall Street Journal, North Korean cheer squad's presence was impossible for even the skaters to ignore. Okay, and then it says, and then there's that Think Progress. It's a Twitter account and a think tank probably that was called out by none other than QAnon not too long ago, where it says, despite Mike Pence's sabotage, North Korea's charm offensive appears to be working. And then you have an article in Esquire that says North Korea's cheerleaders are the most mesmerizing part of the Winter Olympics. Now this is all sick when you put it all together. I don't even know what to say to that kind of commie traitorism. But it says North Korea is a CIA black site. This is the Anon. This is not Q. And the Anon is saying North Korea is a CIA black site. Operation Mockingbird is a CIA media control. It says who in the media now is glorifying North Korea despite the Trump administration? Then it says take time to take the offensive. Let's start taking names of all journalists that propagate North Korea. Let's not let them hide behind their banners anymore. Let's play Hunt the Spook. I apologize for that. But Q actually does respond to this person by saying, ask yourself, why is North Korea participating in the Olympic Games this year? Ask yourself, why is the sister of Kim Jong-un with Mike Pence? Ask yourself, if controlled, how might you protect yourself and look for a way out? Ask yourself, what is a distraction? Ask yourself, why did Korea come together as a country versus North and South? Ask yourself, what occurred in Asia, referencing the pics just prior to the Olympic Games. And I think that's referencing the pictures we had of the tower in Thailand that was obviously had somebody visiting there, and there was a door blown and a window open to let out the pressure from the blast, etc. If you guys don't know about that, go check out my earlier videos, and you'll be able to see all about that in the previous Q post. It says, ask yourself, what does freed mean? So when Q says Trump freed, what does that mean? Ask yourself, do we want a war? Ask yourself, who is trying to start a war? Ask yourself, if a missile was launched by rogue actors, what would be the purpose? See, now I think that goes back to the Hawaii thing, that there was a missile launched and that it was shot down, and that was a clever cover-up on our part, and we were smart enough not to engage in a all-out war based off of a rogue group who may or may not have gotten control of a submarine and a Polaris missile and launched it at Hawaii. It says, ask yourself, what should immediately start a war? Ask yourself, would the public understand the following statement? Rogue actors, the clowns, the U.S., the former heads of state, so that would be like the CIA and the Obama and Clintons, initiated a missile launch in order to force the U.S. into a war conflict against X, probably North Korea. See, that's what's going on behind the scenes. Now it says, be the artists we know you are. Now I know that says artists, but I think it was like a legit typo. But I'm not sure. It's hard to tell with him. But that could have been a typo. And if it's artists, then I understand, be the artist we know you are. But it may be artists, and if there's more to that, then we'll look into it. It says, those who cannot understand that we cannot simply start arresting without first ensuring the safety and well-being of the population, shifting the narrative, removing those in D.C. through resignation to ensure success, defeating ISIS MS-13 to prevent fail-safes, freezing assets to remove network-to-network abilities, kill off the chain of command to prevent top-down comms and organizations, etc., should not be participating in this discussion. So if you don't understand that the whole idea behind Q and what we're doing, I'm pretty sure that it's military intelligence. Don't quote me on that, but that there is an active war going on behind the scenes. It's been ongoing, and we are in the process of doing all of these things. This is very important because this is what we all need to come together to fight and to work for. As patriots, we need to shed a light onto this. So I'll let you guys do with that as you may. In the comments, I'd love to hear more about this. This is very fascinating. Operation Mockingbird in the CIA media control. All of that is fascinating topic that we can get into. Now, we'll go on to this. Now, here's a picture of this is an ANON posting, of course, and he gives us this. It's the actual list of who was on that plane that was brought down, and then there's an arrow here pointing to Ivanov Vyashilav, Ivanov Vyashilav. Okay, and forgive me if my Russian's not great because I am not Russian or a Russian bot, so I don't know how to say that correctly. But let's just go right back to it. Now, who is Ivan Vyashilav? Well, it says right here. And we'll go back to the Q because it's kind of, this is where that's all taken from, is that article. It says Vyashilav Porushkov has been appointed Rosatom's, which I think is a Russian atomic agency, special representative for international scientific and technical projects. Former deputy director general of Rosatom Vyashilav Porushkov has been appointed Rosatom's special representative for international scientific and technical projects. His responsibilities will include Russia's representation at the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, the creation of a center for the study of ions and antiprotons in Europe, and the organization of an international research center for Russia's multipurpose sodium-cooled fast neutron research reactor, or MBIR, by its Russian acronym. He will also head the Rosatom Technology Development Center, which is being created by the Moscow Engineering Physics Institute. It says over the target. So this was the guy who they shot down a whole plane. They killed 70 people to get him. Was that literally what they did? And if so, you have to ask yourself why. Why? It has to do with the Russian dossier or the Steele dossier. It has to do with Uranium One. This guy was obviously taken out. We need to research this further. It seems pretty clear to me that he was involved in the Uranium One case and he was involved in other things, and that's why he was taken out. So we need to follow this. Excuse me. So now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that's Q's next post. Now, this to me is something that is, you know, he's giving us a hint. If we need to watch and see how Ruth Bader Ginsburg gets into the news in the next week or so, because usually that's what Q does. And you know, will she be retiring? Will she be stepping down? Will she be? Is she sick? Is she not going to make it? Who knows? Right now, we need to do more research. Please comment in the board on that because that would be something I'd be very interesting to hear you guys' thoughts on. Then the next one says from Q, it says timestamp at Snowden, truth to power, drop truth to power, learn Q. So the next one is speaking truth to power. Now it's referring to this tweet here by Rasma Ahmad Rumi, who, if you know who Rasma, he is the Pakistani Daily Times. That's where he is from. Now this is something that Edward Snowden retweeted. So he retweeted this, and then one of the Anons picked that up, and he said Q team refers to this retweet by at Snowden. Then it says he basically points out that this one that you will cease to exist timestamp learn Q. Okay, now I'm not sure what that's referring to. Still haven't figured this one out yet. So if you guys have anything in the comments that could help, I know it's an important one because it keeps coming up, but my initial thought is that there is a direct correlation between Edward Snowden and he maybe he's interfering in these boards. I don't know exactly, but I want to say this, that there is a lot to be said for what's going on here, and we need to come together to figure it out. So working together is going to be the way we do that. Okay, so the next one says, it's from an Anon. It's referring to this post by Q. It says, you will cease to exist, truth to power. How's the bunker these days? 14 live, and then he references back to another Q post here, but it says coincidence, truth to power, coincidence, Barlow, learn. What if Snowden was still a clown? Why would it be important he was in Russia? Learn. So I don't know if Asma Jahangir or John Perry Barlow, they were assassinated maybe, and they were assassinated because of their affiliation with the bad actors. That's what it's shaping up to be now, and that Edward Snowden is playing a big part of this from a faraway site in one of our not so reliable allies in Russia. If not, you could say we're against them. So this all deserves much more explanation and reading into. I'm just trying to get the facts out there as I can, get it into the public domain and get a record of it so that you guys can help make the difference and we can all work together to define what these are. Now we'll go back, and it says timestamp at Snowden truth to power, drop truth to power, learn. Then it says that you will cease to exist, timestamp learn. Then it says coincidence, truth to power, and then it's kind of like re-going through all those. We have to look at the timestamps and understand when things are happening and why things are happening. You guys can do that. You guys are the best. In the comments, let me know what timestamp's referring to, and I know what a timestamp is, but how does it connect with all these? They're all connected by a timestamp, or the times connect to events and when they happen. So let's just look at that, but then let's get into this part where Q actually names McCain again, and this time it's pretty serious. He says, we don't say his name returning to prime time. Wonder if so-called illness condition will flare up. Quote unquote, he's not a war hero. Okay, I think that was a Donald Trump quote, actually. He's a mega millionaire, and there's the McCain Institute. Now, what is the McCain Institute? Well, here you go. This is John McCain here pictured on the main website for the McCain Institute, which is a kind of like something similar to the Clinton Foundation. They move for initiatives, and they work to do global initiatives and so on and so forth. Now it says Rothschild, Clinton, Saudi Arabia, etc. So these are all the people who have been donating probably to the McCain Institute. And then it says brackets not complete. But it gives you these two articles here, which the first one is a link to, let's put it here, the Washington Post. and it's John McCain claims he has nothing to do with the McCain Institute. And if you read into it, it basically just says that he says he doesn't know anything about it and that it's kind of not his thing, even though you see him right here, pretty obviously pictured. I mean, for those of you who can't see it, I'll blow it up. That's him standing there. And I think that that's Jeff Flake. And, you know, they're all just kind of standing there taking a picture because they all, you know, but he has nothing to do with it. He's just in that picture. So let's just disregard that. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, and then the next one, it goes to a Zero Hedge article. And it basically just says McCain Institute's failure to use donations for anti-trafficking purposes raises questions. So is the McCain Institute being used to traffic humans, or is it being used for nefarious purposes? This is all something we need to look into. You guys can certainly go look this up. This is just a Zero Hedge article. You can probably pop this right into the search and they'll pop right up for you. It's from the 8th, let's see, this would be March 8th of 2017. So you guys can look that up for yourself, and we can definitely have a conversation on the boards about that. And then, you know, it's funny how he names this WDSHN. I don't know what that means, but ISIS traitor NN. So, you know, that's what it is. I mean, you can read into that what you will. And then it goes on, the next Q post says, United Airlines to Guantanamo Bay. What airline check-in counter at PVG Terminal 2 is located at E? What was the location of E? Pig posted to other board. Why is this relevant? Okay, so what this is all referring to is this airport here, the Shanghai Pudong Airport, whose code name is PVG. And then here's a picture I found online, but first we'll start with Terminal 2. And Terminal 2 is referring to the brand new terminal. It's got all the, it's got a lot of terminals inside of it, sections, and then there's an E section. And I think what it's referring to is that the Star Alliance, which is a Chinese airline, is for main air hub for Air China, is what needs to be looked at. So is this like referring to Chinese involvement? I'll need you guys' help in the comments. Obviously, we can figure this out together. But is that what this is referring to? That would be interesting. And then, you know, I found this picture online. You can see it's exactly like the picture that we had before. So that is very, very interesting. So here is the picture of the actual terminal itself that was in the Q post right here. You guys can see that, and that looks incredibly similar to what I was able to find. And it must be a match, so that's definitely something that needs further investigation, and we will get to that. But for now, let's just keep moving forward. It says, what was the location of E? Pig posted over the board. I think, I'm not sure what airline that's associated with. You guys can help me out in the boards on that. But now it says, an ANON post, sauce. What? It just says sauce. And then there's an article here that basically talks about the flu. I think it's fascinating. And so he says sauce, and then it says, it gives this article to this, which says experimental drug promises to kill the flu virus in a day. As Americans suffer it's apparently we're in the worst flu epidemic. And all I know is that this is definitely connected to something somehow. We need to figure it out. But it says, Q post back to this. He says, what a coincidence. This board has more power and influence than anyone comprehends. So do with that as you may. Now, the next one, we're trying to get through these quickly, I know. It says, it's a question from an ANON to Q. It says, Q, how long will we have to wait for the cures of cancer and other sicknesses? And then Q responds by saying, chatter amongst those in control has begun. They know we know, which means the public will know. Release prior to cover-up. Public informed and collapse. Which option? Q. So I think he's giving you two options. He says, we can, if we release it prior to the cover-up, or release it and there will be a cover-up, I think he's saying, or if he says public informed and the collapse of society because of just rioting and awful things. But it's hard for me as one person to make all the analytical inferences here. That's why I put this video up. That's why you guys are there, to make the comment boards alive and give us your opinion, because that's what really matters. So let's go into this. It says, haha, PNG. Now, This is an interesting one because it says HA is said to refer to Abedin. In the Q Bible, this is the second shortest sentence. The first, to come, we won. Ha 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 equals Huma Abdi. And then it gives you this article link to the Washington Examiner, which we'll look at right now. Here is the article, and it says FBI texts Clinton email Abedin sought immunity or would take the fifth. So maybe she turned stateside and she wanted to give all that information up, but she didn't want to be accountable for it. And I don't know whether they said yes or no, but it looks like they said no resoundingly. It says HA is said to refer to Abedin, and this is talking about a stroke text where it says, talk to the DOJ about HA interview, told them what we had to interview, no immunity. They said they thought that would get counsel to the point of saying she's either taking the fifth in the grand jury or you need to give her immunity. I said, that's fine. Please have discussions to get the decision to that point, and I would run up the chain. So fascinating. This is a great article. I encourage everybody to read it. It's here on the Washington Examiner. You guys can find it for yourself. Just type this in. It just was posted today, or no, a few days ago, excuse me. And yeah, everybody needs to look at this stuff because this is just fascinating. Okay, and we're really on the precipice here of it all. So back to the Q, and it says, Q actually responds to this, and he says, double meanings work well against sniffers. So sniffers, those are people who are sniffing and investigating and following a scent, possibly. And I'm not sure what exactly we're getting into here in the Q board, other than this is the information, I'm presenting it to you, and I want you all to take the time to look at it and comment in the boards and let me know what you think. Okay, so now we're getting into the last post, I promise. I know this has taken quite some time. Usually my videos are a little bit shorter. But it says, I hope some and then this is an Anon saying to Q. He says, I hope some patriots, vets, and Anons get the respect that we deserve. Marine Anons have felt betrayed by the same people we were willing to die to protect. I felt lost until you showed up in October. Thank you from the depths of my heart. And then Q responds, we are with you, patriot. We honor your service to our great country. Without people like you, the world would be lost. Godspeed, Q. And I agree with this sentiment wholeheartedly and 100%. And I feel the same way, and I want to tell that patriot who wrote that, we are with you. There are more of us out there, and we're all standing together, whether we're patriots, vets, or Anons. We're all working together to make sure that this information gets out there, and we're doing our best. So working together is the only way, and prayer to God and faith in each other and faith in God is the most important thing. Now, another Anon post here. It says, release prior to cover-up, public informed and collapse. Q. There's one thing that concerns me, somewhat related to this, but more related to 60-40, like 60%, 40%. We can't, the information that gets released to the public. It says the less the public knows, the more likely they are to falsely assign blame in the future, possibly even generations from now. It's worth keeping in mind. And then Q actually responds to this and says, understand one simple fact. The U.S. is connected to the rest of the world. Knowing that, understand by default, if certain intel is released, it would cause a worldwide mass suffering. We share the idea of open source, but value life and must make based decisions on outcomes and containability. Q. So this is a valuable a little insight here to the world of Q and what we're doing here. We're open sourcing information and we're making secrets known, but we're doing it in a way that's safe and guarded and well contemplated, so that the adverse reactions that are possible are not felt by those who are the most in need of awakening. Yet at the same time, some can't handle this information. This is too much for them, and this is why we have to be guarded, and we always have to watch our own six, and we need to disseminate this information safely and with the most direct way, but the most direct line of thought, but also while understanding that certain things just can't come out yet, but they will. So have faith, patriots. Now we're going into the last ones. And this one's from Q. It says, do not read into this spelling structure error. It says heavy lag, attack ongoing. Q. So I don't know if he's being attacked from his location, and he's trying to get these posts in, and they're shutting him down somehow. But we should all be aware of that. And if there was one spelling or structure error, I did see the one part where it said the audis instead of artists, so that could be possibly what that's referring to. We will have to see in the future. Then the next one says, don't care, and this is Anon. He says, don't care about your sentence structure, just care to know how full Gitmo is going to be. And then it says, max capacity, one other prison being prepped. So that's telling right there. That's all we should need to know. Guantanamo Bay is full. We filled it up, and now we're prepping another place to put more. So look forward to that, Patriots. The traitors will be taken down. We will work together to get through this. And I just want to close by saying thanks for watching. Let's just talk about this. God's grace is greater, and all you out there need to know it. And keep God close to your heart, and He's the one who's going to help us win this battle. Pray every day and help inform your loved ones and family and friends that it's not as bad as it seems. The hysteria is taking over the mainstream media, as always, and we are here to counter that, and we will continue to fight together and work to expose this and bring light where there was once dark. And only through prayer and a faith and devotion to the Lord will we be able to do that successfully. And just know there's more of us than there are of the globalists, elitists, Luciferian scum. And where we go one, we go all. And that's going to be it for tonight. I just want to thank you for watching. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God bless and Godspeed.